Hello everyone, my name is Vriddhi Miglani and we will talk about Economic Survey 2021. So let's get started. So in the last video we talked about the government needed debt, and in this video we will talk about how the government can actually sustain this debt. Now this we will understand with the help of interest rate growth differential. Now here is the data point of last 25 years. This brown line is our growth rate, whereas this blue line is our interest rate. Now there are two things that we need to see. See, first is that our growth rate has been fluctuating, whereas our interest rates have been more or less stable. And the second thing is that our growth rates have been mostly higher than our interest rates. So why now? What does this imply for us when our growth rates have been higher than our interest rates? Now we will understand this with an example. Let's say if I am at a base of 100 and I take a loan at 100 and 10% per annum. By the end of this year, I am at 120. Now I pay my debt obligation of rupees 10. Net net, I stand at 110. So that means what? I am better off than my last year because now I'm 110, which is better than 100. So this could happen because my growth rate was higher than my debt rate. That is my interest rate. Because 20% was higher than my 10%. So this is exactly what this graph is trying to tell us, that our growth rates have been higher than the interest rates. So this means that we can sustain this debt. Now, one more important thing is that we never ever see debt in isolation. We never ever say that okay, India has 100 lakh crore debt or 50 lakh crore debt or whatever with the amount. Never do we say it like that. We always see debt as a percentage of GDP, or we see that as debt to GDP ratio. That means any government can make this ratio better in two ways. Either it can decrease debt or it can improve its denominator, that is its GDP. Now in India, what can we do? So like I said, that our interest rates have been more or less on the stable side, whereas what has been fluctuating is our growth rate. So that means what? Our government, it can focus more on GDP rather than focusing on debt, because our GDP is something that can fluctuate easily, with the help of increasing growth or enhancing our growth rates. So that means that the government should focus more on improving the GDP or increasing the GDP to make debt more sustainable. And this is exactly what is mentioned here, that if we look at the trends in interest rates and growth rates in India, there's a higher variability in growth rates relative to interest rates over the past 2.5 decades. This implies that changes in IRGD are mostly attributable to changes in growth rates rather than the changes in interest rates. So our debt is sustainable because our growth is higher than our interest rates. But if we say that if we decrease our debt and then we can think of achieving more growth, that really may not be possible because our growth rates are more fluctuating than our interest rates. So yes, growth, so we see how growth leads to debt sustainability, but we do not really know that, or we do not really say that our decreasing debt may lead to higher growth. Thank you so much.